Trump slammed Powell for not cutting interest rates and suggested he could fire him if he wanted to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. But I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me. Well, I think he should do the rate cuts because I think if Europe has done it, it puts us at a disadvantage to Europe. I mean, he plays right into their hands. So I think he should do the rate cuts. We don't have really inflation now.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board, meanwhile, is writing about the lesson of Trump versus Powell. The piece reads in part, quote, "The world is paying attention to Mr. Trump's call for the termination of Mr. Powell, whose term runs to May of 2026. The president often talks in private of firing the Fed chairman, who wouldn't go quietly. This would tee up a protracted legal fight with market turmoil to match as investors awaited a Supreme Court ruling on the legality of dismissal. That's the last fight Mr. Trump needs right now. If the president wants faster growth and less market turmoil, he can help by ending his tariff campaign, then get Congress to move on a tax and spending cut bill and press ahead with deregulation. The main lesson from Trump versus Powell is that the central bank can't make up for the economic policy errors of politicians. Ed, I know that you've been wanting to speak about this all morning. We know that Donald Trump has wanted to get rid of Fed Powell for a while. Do you think we are inching closer to the point where he might actually fire him?
Yes. I mean, remember, he has done this once before in his first term, but that was pre-COVID at a time of market stability. And he was pressuring Powell then to cut interest rates, and he did, not because of pressure from Trump. This time is very different. We're at a time when the dollar is falling. Dollar is falling when other countries are cutting interest rates, so it should be rising. Why is the dollar falling? The dollar is falling because investors are losing trust in the full faith and credit of the U.S. government under Donald Trump. And if he then adds into this tariff war, which is creating inflation, which of course means you can't cut interest rates because that's even more inflationary. If Trump is adding into this a threat to the independence of the Fed, the oldest independent central bank in the world, going back to 1913, an absolute mainstay of the dollar as the global reserve currency, if Trump in the middle of this is going to end the independence of the Fed, he's going to end the dollar's global reserve currency status. I mean, it's that significant, these threats that he's issuing. So I think amongst sort of all the market turmoil over the tariffs since April the 2nd, since he had his Liberation Day, the Fed hasn't entered the mix until yesterday, and we're already seeing a flight from the dollar. If he really means this, and I think the Wall Street Journal's correct, that he's been talking about firing Powell for weeks and months, if he really means this, then we ain't seen nothing yet in terms of market turmoil.
And I know you spend half of your time over in Europe, in Poland, and people have been watching the prospects for the American system quite closely. Over the last few months, they were concerned around the tariffs, around the issue of competency. Were Chairman Powell to be fired by Donald Trump, or were he to try to fire him? Who knows how that would end up in the courts? How would that be received in other countries, on this theme of kind of competency, commitment to systems, commitment to institutions of democracy in America?
I mean, I think the real issue is stability. So the United States has projected not just an aura of stability, but the reality of stability, financial stability, some predictability in foreign policy, some predictability in the way it manages markets and the way it manages the economy. You know, we had a swing from Republicans to Democrats, but within a band that outsiders could understand. And we're now well outside of that, both in terms of attacks on the rule of law, attacks on independent institutions, wild tariffs that make no sense economically, decided according to some weird formula. All of that makes people question whether this is still a stable country. Do you want to keep your money here? Do you want to own American bonds? Do you want to do business with the United States? Do you want to build a factory in the United States if you don't know what's coming next or what the tax regime or tariff regime will be next week or next month or next year? And I think it's had both an economic impact and a kind of echo, in many spheres, but also a political one, as people wonder, is the United States, if you're an ally of the U.S., are you still an ally? If you're an adversary, what will you do next? Can you do any negotiating or not? It's really hard to underestimate the degree to which the image of the United States as a stable partner has changed radically in the last few months.
And the cost of that is high, even in the short term, in the